right, hello, and welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging and Friends. We are playing Ultraviolet Grasslands tonight. We are continuing our journey westward, looking for how the hell to get to space, as I think, because we're prophets of the True Mother, and we're trying to ascend to the sky like the sky shamans of old, and or just, recruit everybody by way of forcible mind control, stuff like that. It's probably stuff like that. Yeah.
Normal.
Yeah. So before I get into the summary, let's just do introductions. We're down at Joe tonight, unfortunately. So let's make sure we somehow liquefy his character tonight, so that in 2 weeks when he comes back, he's just like a skeleton with no muscles. And how heartbroken would he be?
If you're not here, you're our volunteer.
Yeah, I feel that's true. Yeah. All right, so we'll skip Joe because he's not here because he's a jerk. And we'll start with Melissa. Melissa, who are you playing?
So I play Lamb and Phil. So I am a Spectrum Satrap, which is a orange coated, skinned, suited creature here. And Lamb is my many-fingered monkey lizard friend that steals things. And I'm practicing my knife throwing. Last session, I got to pull out my rainbows and unicorn skill, which is some light magic.
All right, very cool. Yeah. And next, I like that idea, Seth Jeffrey. So I think you mentioned it last time, or someone mentioned it last time. But Bert, who are you, and what do you got going on?
Hey, I'm Bert, playing Khalil Abu, the very humble Safranian coffee maker, with his animated furry chitinous kite, who I like to call Cyrus, as my companion. And as we found out last episode, coffee can be a weapon.
It's true. It indeed can. You made that combat so easy by comparison. It's just going to be a bunch of swarms, and then it wasn't.
Even had the opposite effect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it did, didn't it? It made you sleepy.
I need some of that coffee for tonight.
Yeah. Okay, bottom row, we got Chuck.
That's me. I'm playing Tango Carne, the blue super spooky snot ghost. And I think I'm out of a meat suit still. I think the queen thing took my meat suit, so I'll have to find me a meat suit. But yeah, I'm a ghost. I'm gonna crawl up someone's nose, maybe.
I mean, Ensen's not being piloted this week.
I'll just meat suit Ensen.
Just meat suit Ensen. He's got there's so much.
Resist.
Yeah.
I heard he volunteered.
I think so. Right. And speaking of missing meat suits, was I think Jeremy, aren't you missing your man meat as well?
Yeah, I do miss man meat sorely, but we all make sacrifices for the cause.
Yep. Yeah, it's true.
Do we make those sacrifices though? I'm not quite sure we make the sacrifices.
In our hearts, we do. It's hard to let go.
Theoretically.
Sure.
Theoretically.
Feel like a sacrifice was made, and that's what is important.
It is. But yeah, I'm playing Nikisha Salvador Giovanni. I'm an upright citizen. I'm a cat lord of sorts, a gentleman explorer, a big game hunter, and oft-times recruiter, as Jeffrey has mentioned.
Okay, and let's see. Oh, I got the Black Wizard thing too, right? Let me drop. I'm pretty sure I updated that one. So I'm just dropping all your links in here, even if you didn't mention it. I'm still dropping them.
Oh, thank you.
And finally, we got our other satrap. We got Dan. Dan, who are you playing?
Hey everybody, I'm Dan, and I'm playing Satrap 418 Teapot. I helped us mess everything up with bonus tech.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll lead the world to a better place.
Yeah, and you came up fairly clutch at the end there when you were harvesting some of that Ogtech at the base of the sea there. I think that was you. I think that was Teapot. Yep. So you got some more stuff to trade.
We're gonna make some big money.
Good. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's dive in because we've had an interesting couple of sessions. So Like the basic gist of this is that you all are supposedly prophets of the True Mother of some kind. You've been sent into the Ultraviolet Grasslands by a financier named Circleangelo and his horned rat masters. And as you travel west, you're looking for clues on how to ascend into the sky, like the sky shamans of old. You're trying to bring down the ancestors because in the past they walked in space, and you're bringing them down to Earth, something like that. You've been hanging out within the Steppe of the Lime Nomads for the past few weeks, both in game terms and in stream terms. You've been recruiting, using that term loosely, others to your caravan, including the noble nomad crackers, an amnesiac Vomish queen now turned into a polybody that's combining man meat and meat suit, and 1/3 of an alien megapede, which you're now using as a bus. And so last session, thanks to Khalil's quick thinking, you managed to slaughter the blue cult of the Rotten God. They're gone. They're done. There's no more blue cult of the Rotten God. And you managed, and you watched as the Vomish Queen that you had just recently freed from beneath a crypt in the highlands of the steppe. They merged with 2/3 of the megapede, and they burrowed into the earth because the megapede was just desperate for doing something down there. And so you parted ways for now, and it's for now.
I'm sure that won't backfire.
I'm sure it won't have lasting consequences and come back to haunt us at a certain point later. And I'm sure
Sounds
that's
like an Earth problem to me.
It sounds, yeah. I mean, you guys are going to space, so what do you care?
Right.
And so you looted a bunch of spoils. You guys had thought about going up into the Lavender Cliffs, but you're so far away. Your caravan at this point has grown and changed. You have a bunch of stuff that you want to try to sell off, and plus you guys got enough XP to level, and so you're probably going to go looking for some studying and some training. And so you turned the caravan around and started heading southwest towards the Porcelain Citadel. And that's where we're at. Now, it is still a ways to the Porcelain Citadel. So there's still a whole week's worth of travel. But eventually, as you guys went off trail to go to some of these places, and now you're trying to get back on the route. The Porcelain Citadel is a kind of a major hub. It's where the Porcelain Princes live. It's like their kind of central settlement. And the porcelain, the Porcelain Princes tend to be the ones that are like kind of polybody or multi bodies, and they kind of look to prolong their life and their by creating like networks of personality. And so some of them are just 2 or 3 bodies, and some of them are like literally 100 bodies. So it can kind of get a little strange. But we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get back on the road. So you turn the caravan around. You get your alien megapede segment bus ready to go, and you begin your return. All right. So let's see.
With a whole lot of mossy food.
Yeah. So if memory serves, you stored a bunch of the moss, so you have food. It's not the tastiest stuff in the world, but it's food. So you have it. You have a bunch of tech, some Vomish tech and stuff that Teapot was able to scavenge a bit. And you have a couple other little odds and ends, I think, that you looted specifically from the Blue Cult. But you get back on the road, or on the trail. Cinnabar ash storms swirling about. Like days go by with these kind of long, empty stretches, silent land, like dotted with these like orange-brown growths and these various ruined resting places of caravans long past and long failed. But you eventually work your way back to a familiar trailhead and push southwestward. I need somebody to go ahead and make a misfortune roll for me. So let's, I think we've lost track of who that is. So Bert, go ahead and roll. Go ahead and roll a charisma test. So D20, okay. Add your charisma. Ooh, okay.
Nice.
Khalil is nothing but charisma.
Okay. All right. It's okay. You've been out here for a while, and even though like the travel up into like the Blue Hills and the Blue Mountains near the Lavender Cliffs has kind of pushed you all away from some of the Cinnabar area, like you've had a break from it. that as you weave your way back down onto the trail, you nonetheless are reminded why people don't take this road very often, because the dust storms are significant. Now, the good news is that it smells pretty good, but you've learned, and maybe most of you are huddling inside of the Megapede bus to avoid some of the heavier storms and keep a lot of the ash out of your belongings. Maybe you've got your Vohm tech that's all packed up tight, to the point where no one, you've learned enough to not suffer anything too serious on your way down. So it's a very good misfortune roll. Nothing of too terrible danger occurs.
I'm very good at packing. I can keep things
True.
in and tight.
So about 4 days into your travel towards the Porcelain Citadel, so more than half the time it takes to get there. It's mid-morning. The haze has receded. You can sort of see elements of the sky. There's the ash storm itself has died down, and it's at this point that a few of you notice up ahead, as you crest over top of these kind of undulating hills, you can see that there's a group of people off to the south that are perched atop a series of these rock outcroppings, these orange dryland coral rock outcroppings, very familiar rock that you see all over the place. And not only that, but you see a bunch of goats as well, almost like herds of goats. Some of them look like nomads, some of them look like travelers. They're a couple hundred yards away. Some of you might have eyeglasses, spy glasses or something like that to look. And you notice that in between you and them, there's these undulating ash dunes that are sitting between you, and they're dotted with these patches of yellow grass. But also, and possibly more alarmingly, the bloated and discolored corpses of numerous goats and nomads. And as you crest over top of the hill and you start descending down this trail, you can see that in a couple hundred yards in the distance, these figures that are on top of those outcroppings, scattered here and there, are kind of shouting and waving their arms. They're firing colored lights up into the air, trying to get your attention somehow. How would you all like to handle this? Oh, thank you, Ashley. Yes, goats.
Look, customers.
And
Yeah.
meat for the caravan.
I wasn't thinking about it like that. But yeah, customers and meat. Yeah.
We should spread the word wherever we can. So this seems fortuitous. More ears for the listening.
What word are we spreading?
Our mission, of course.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that. Cool.
The
I'm
space
down.
thing.
All right.
Okay.
There's only room for one cult around here.
There can be
It's
only one.
ours.
There could be only one. You just have to cut everyone's heads off. Then you absorb them and you get stronger.
We'll
Okay.
feed them to the Vohm bus.
Yeah.
All right.
And we gain their cult powers.
Ooh.
These all sound like excellent additions to the Ultraviolet Grasslands as far as I'm concerned. So what do you guys do then?
We wave back.
Okay.
Hello.
So MSG and Lamb specifically, since you both are claiming to do something, go ahead and roll thought tests.
Oh, boy.
I'll call it. And this is just sort of like deciphering like body language or something like that. If you have any skills that might be, or anything like perception wise might work as well.
No.
And don't, yeah. So then just, straight up.
Okay.
No one's ever accused me of being very thoughtful.
D20 plus 1. I mean, that's not bad.
Okay. That's really good. So the two of you notice that in the process of like it's less of like they're trying to say hello, and it's more like distress. And so it's more like they're shooting these colorful like the colorful plumes of smoke like up into the sky, like emergency flares almost. And as you look, you realize that none of them are actually touching the ground, like the ash-covered and yellow grass-covered ground between where you are on the trail and where they are a couple hundred yards south of you. So like the length of maybe 2 football fields. And you can see that they're just on top of these rocks, these outcroppings here and there. And you're too far at a distance to be able to kind of make out anything that they say.
I'm feeling some strange tremors of nervousness inside of me. They seem to have gone to elevation.
You want me to float over there and see what's up?
I think the rest of us should keep a look at the ground.
Sounds like a good idea.
Aerial reconnaissance.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Huh?
So, Tango, you float on over there without much effort. And as you get close, you hear the sounds of gunfire as they seem to be trying to shoot at you. As you are an ultra ghost floating towards them.
Yeah.
And they're panically trying to shoot some of these colorful, dust rainbows at you. No, none of it's actually affecting you whatsoever.
Okay.
It just sort of passes through you. But you hear that their sudden joyous calls are not so joyous after all. They're perhaps even more frightened of the fact that there's now a ghost that's approaching them. How do you want to handle that?
Oh, I'm just going to float up, like right up to one of them with the gun. Like I'll even like just perch right over the muzzle of the gun while they
Okay.
like, hey, like, I thought you all needed help.
And they spout off a few choice curses in various local clan tongues, but they something along the line, things about ultras specifically and ghosts, like soulless, or like bodiless soul eaters and things like that. They're calling you all sorts of these different phrases. Why don't you? If you're just gonna talk to them, go ahead and roll like a charisma test here.
Yeah, I'll play
Just to
my
establish.
smooth operator.
Okay.
How much? We get a +2 for a skill.
Yeah, I think level 2 is +2. Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys haven't got the +3 yet.
So plus my charisma, I got a 19.
Okay.
Nice.
So as you see, there's the group over here. There's a mixture of folks. You see some people. There are some children. There's some families. There's some there's definitely people who are they're hurt. They're goat herders. But you see this fairly like blubbering, heavy set man kind of push forward, nearly knocking a few people off the rocks and onto the ash covered sand below, and it says, "Oh, listen here. I don't know what you think you are coming out here, but if you can help us, we'll perhaps look the other way and not report you to as a ghost that is haunting these lands. We'll do you a favor if you do us one."
That sounds more like blackmail, but sure, I'll give you a hand. What's going on?
Something in the ground has been killing us. He looks, kind of points at his. First it was the animals, and then it was some of the slow folk. We've sent a few of our fastest runners, but of course they're not fast enough at all.
That sucks. Any sight on what it is?
Not sure exactly. It's noticed no creatures or anything, but as we run across, we suddenly hear a call like "ah!" and then we look over and someone has fallen. Or we hear a meh, and we look over and a goat has fallen.
So like they just collapsed dead on the ground. It's not like
They're getting like pulled.
grabbing them.
No, it's just falling over. As you can see, we've been here for a few days now, and we're running out of supplies. The goats and the people have just been there.
How long has this been chasing you?
2 days, perhaps. We thought, seeing you approach, that finally you revealed yourself. We figured it was cruel creatures like you who manipulate us and do so with beyond the spectrum sight, but
Yeah, not in this case, man. Sorry to disappoint. Tell you
are
what.
you going to do something to help us, or are you just going to stand there and blubber?
Oh, you're awfully pushy for someone who's getting a helping hand.
Well,
I'll tell you what. I'll go talk to my crew, and we'll see what we can do for you. Because I don't know if you noticed this, but I don't have hands, so I can't give you a hand or anything.
Yes, go talk to your crew.
So are
Hurry.
they like standing on some rocks? Is that
Yeah,
what I
they're
heard?
standing on rocks. They're literally standing on top of rocks. It's very
Yeah.
much like Jeremy mentioned. It's very much
Yeah.
like a tremor situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'll float back and relay the information. Like, yeah, there's something in the ground that's just killing them. They haven't seen anything. It's not pulling them down. They're just dropping dead. And they can't get them on the rocks.
Okay.
I suppose if we wanted to, we could just take our new ride over there and let them all hop on top and give them a lift.
You don't think it's gonna try and eat our bus, do you?
I mean, if anything, I think we should drive our bus over the bodies, let it get a quick bite, a little snack. No reason not to.
Oh yeah, are there bodies?
That's not a bad. Yeah, there's bodies.
Yeah,
We're
every
sure the
challenge
bodies
is
are-
really an opportunity. Sorry.
Oh, we should go corpse fishing and bring one of the bodies back and like investigate it. See if we can find out what killed it. Maybe it's got like athlete's foot and they died of that.
Oh boy, if we fed that to our bus, wouldn't that make it smell a little funny?
It could.
Is there one close by that we could grab? Did you see one on the way?
How close is the closest?
Probably
corpse?
the nearest one is maybe 15 feet away off the trail.
Oh. I wonder if we can just send one of the skeletons over there with the rope.
Exactly. Let's
Yeah.
see if it's just like what stimuli is it responding to? If it comes
Yeah.
after a skeleton, then that means, it's just the motion, the weight.
Nice.
Okay, so
Okay.
you're gonna send one of the skeletal porters over. Okay.
Uh-huh.
You probably
Nothing can
can't
go
tell the
wrong.
difference between crackers and the other ones, so you just pick one of them. You say go.
They're
It's
all crackers
crackers.
now.
They're all crackers now.
They're all crackers.
In our heart,
Crackers
they're
one,
all crackers.
two, crackers three. Okay. All right. So whoever's watching, go ahead and you can roll some sort of perception test or something like that if you like. But you see, as carrying a rope, your skeletal porter steps off the trail. You see them get a few feet, and then you see a sudden kick up of dust and movement. And then as you watch the something kind of pushes up through the dust and kind of wraps around its leg for just a moment, and then the dust settles, and as the porter continues to kind of walk, you watch as the bone just begins to dissolve, and it just and you're just trying to the whole foot is now kind of dissolved into some kind of sand, and it's just walking on top of the bottom of the leg bone, and kind of gets the rope wrapped around, and then just kind of crumbles down some more. You see a big bit of dust again kind of kick up, and then you see something thrashing around within the dust, and then it
Can
starts
I-
to settle again. Okay.
When it's thrashing around, can I go over there for a closer look?
Yeah. It doesn't look
Yeah.
like they were. Did anyone have any high rolls for their observation?
Oh, we got them all rolled.
I'm probably not even looking
Anyone
in the
who
right
wanted
I
direction.
think Lamb did.
Liam got a 17.
Okay, that's good enough. 17. Lamb, you notice that when the dust kicks up, you notice that something comes up underneath the dirt and appears out, and it looks to be the grass, that kind of yellowish grass that just sort of pops up, and that kind of wrapped itself around the leg of in the foot of this skeletal porter, and then something happened. It kind of You saw like you see these like spikes or something come out from the grass itself, and then it unwrapped itself and burrowed back partially underneath the dirt.
So everyone, we've heard the phrase blades of grass. Well, this grass is actually attacking
My.
what is laying on top of this area.
That's messed up.
You're
So-
watching, by the way, the skeletal porter is like getting thrashed around in like all these little streams of like these almost like vines of this yellow grass, like within that cloud of Tasmanian devil, ash is just sort of slashing away at this thing and just slowly dissolving all of the different bones.
You're doing great, Crackers.
Just like last time. Fantastic work.
Well, I know there was some talk about athlete's foot, but the solution for this could be very similar as the solution for athlete's foot. Just I've seen several of my family members ruin a yard with their urine.
So you want to go pee on it? Did I?
Well, I would imagine there's a lot of grass. They would have to be collective effort.
If I had pee to donate, I would be all for it.
I've had cats that ruined many a yard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if Satrap's pee or not.
It's up to you.
We're asking
Well, all this
real
caffeine,
questions.
really dehydrates me. So I'm
Meanwhile,
afraid
the
I
smoke-
can't contribute.
Meanwhile, the ash dissipates. You look down, and this skeleton is just sort of like 4 or 5 bones in a series of piles of bone dust.
We are down to 6 skeletal porters.
Thank you for keeping track.
What if instead don't we have a kit for doing some like a laboratory kit of some sort, right?
Yeah, that's what I was looking up when you mentioned pissing. And I was like, well, I was thinking about other chemicals, but that works too.
I mean, in fairness, I actually am trained in chemistry. I could try to do something a little bit less, that's just the natural way. I'd like to handle things naturally, organically when possible, but we could,
Try what you have available before you have to go inventing something.
of course. But I haven't invented it in a while. There's a lot of grass. I don't think I have that much in me.
Is there, while any of this sort of thrashing around is happening, does anyone have anything that could try to, lasso a little bit of that grass and wrangle a sample?
Well, the porter did manage to get the rope onto the corpse, so you can pull the corpse in if you wanted to.
Right, but I'm thinking the actual vines of grass that are coming up. Like, does
Get
anybody
someone
have?
to get that back.
So my kite is animated. Does that mean it perhaps has some appendages?
Animated. I think it moves. You can describe it however you want. I don't care.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fly out my kite and just hover it above the grass a little bit and have it pick out a few fronds.
Okay, you're gonna try to pick the grass.
Yeah.
Okay. Roll an attack actually.
Mhm.
In this
Okay.
case,
So based on
you're-
me or based on my pet?
based on your pet. So your pet is its own separate entity, and it should be level 0. So it'll have a +1 bonus, and so
Okay.
you would. So in this
So-
case,
Question real quick.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
with a pet, the way it levels up is I give it a level I should have gotten.
you can share XP with it in whatever proportions you want. So
I give
it,
up my last leveling and I give it to my kite, so it is
Okay.
level 1.
oh yeah, that's fine. And you don't even have to you can even split the XP. Like whenever you get say 300, you can be like, I'll take 200,
Oh,
I'll take
okay, I see.
100, and it levels up using the same kind of the same range that you can see on the right. So
So it's level 1, so it should be plus
Okay.
2.
yeah, +2 to your attack,
Then
and
anything else, I think
And it-
you get to choose an ability or like a,
Yeah,
or
if you-
a stat for agility.
yeah, agility would be fine, especially since you're trying to do a quick kind
Yeah.
of sweep down and grab it. That's fine. That makes sense. So I would say agility +2.
Oh, that's bad.
Don't forget you have heroics. You all should have gotten one
Yeah.
at the start of the night as well.
And do we lose them at the end or do we keep them?
You never lose them. You just use them. But there is a max that you can store.
Okay, so we can't store. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and redo that then. Okay, let's try this again. 23.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Nat
goodness.
20.
So your kite
Cyrus
swoops in.
is very
Cyrus swoops down as the dust is settling, snatches what looks like this frond of fern almost that's got these like spiked blades, snatches it right as it's trying to settle into its little patch, and just pulls it away. You can see a big chunk of the plant tries to come up with it, almost like roots or legs that are kind of buried underneath. But Cyrus manages to snatch a bit of the fern and just yanks it over to you all, and you now have probably about a 2-foot long run of like these little spiky leaves and things like that.
I feed Cyrus a coffee bean. A slight shiver goes through him as the
I at
caffeine
least-
hits.
I at least don't think this is our fault. Not this time.
This is so handy having pets and party members that can fly. This is wonderful.
It's amazing. Well played.
Pretty great.
As it lands, that 2-foot long frond is still kind of moving, right?
Yep.
So
And,
think of like bisecting a worm or something like that. You'll still see like, yeah, it's just like that's still kind of moving about, but it seems
So
like
grab
it's
a
just moving about
container and-
randomly.
Just kind of catch it like a bug in a container.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem.
Let's commence with some experimentation.
You
Science.
hear echoing on the wind like the blood-burning flow. Anytime now! We're getting very tired over here. Just screaming from a
Oh.
distance.
Yeah, they're like hungry and stuff.
No, we'll see if we can find a way to kill this and, maybe make it edible. They can eat their tormentors. What
Well,
better
if we
revenge
wait
is there?
long enough, they become food for us.
I like that idea.
Sounds
Or-
like a
or-
win-win to
Or
me.
for bus.
All right. So I assume chemistry will go off intelligence, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thought. yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me do 20, and then I've got a skill. So, okay. I'll use a heroic.
Okay.
So you see, I'm just no. I'm pretty sure we just need to urinate on it.
Oh my goodness.
I rolled the exact same roll again.
Wow.
Yeah. You take a look at this and you genuinely have no idea what the big deal is. It's just a piece of plant. Like, you might even be able to eat it, as far as you know.
Well, I don't eat, but that's still good for all of you.
It's definitely a sedative, Jeremy. 100%.
Bless it.
So the animals aren't dead then. They're just sleeping.
No, that was a joke. That was an inside
Oh.
joke. Sorry.
Yeah.
They are dead.
Okay, so what do you want to? Oh, no, the animals are most certainly dead. Like Tango flying over top of it, Cyrus as well. Like they are dead. They look gross and like almost hollowed out in some ways. They just, it's kind of very peculiar to look at. You guys want to do?
Can we try to start driving the bus over it and see if the bus is getting attacked in the same way that the animals were getting attacked?
Of course.
We gotta be ready to back that bus up, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know who has driving skills per se, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Does anyone actually have driving skills?
Well, it's a funny thing. The big game hunter does actually say that you're good at riding upon large animals.
Okay. Okay.
Sounds like you.
This little cat is up in the driver's seat. Okay. So let me make a little.
Nope.
Oh my gosh, what is with your dice tonight?
All right, you
It's karma. I deserve this.
are all of you in the bus as you drive across, or are some of you waiting on the trail, or
I mean, this is an experiment, so I don't want to watch it happen.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
observation.
I'll be floating underneath watching.
okay,
I'd probably be on board.
on board. The satraps, where are the two of you at?
We were observing.
Observing.
Okay, observing. All right, so Khalil, MSG, you're on the bus. Tango, you're kind of flanking them as you're flying around as well.
Mm-hmm.
You get about 50 yards out. No problem whatsoever. And it's at that point when Tango, you notice that this huge swarm of dust begins to kick up, and you can see these huge fronds of these plants begin to emerge from the little kick of dust and start wrapping around the many legs. Because remember that you have tiny little megapede legs at the bottom of this, and start wrapping around them. And you watch as 9 of them are kind of wrapped up specifically, and you can see that whatever the fronds are doing, it's having an effect on the legs as the legs are beginning to sort of decay and kind of malfunction.
I want to try something, Jeff.
Absolutely.
We've got like cooking gear and stuff aboard, right? Do we have salt?
I don't see why not. Yeah.
I want to salt the earth. Vegetables don't like salt. At
Okay.
least not while they're alive. It's very tasty once they're dead. Yeah, I'm just gonna start salting, throwing out pellets of salt.
Yeah, you do notice it actually has an effect. Like, it's a small localized effect, but like whenever you throw it into one of those like little radiuses of dust where you know there's that plant thrashing around, you definitely see they retreat. So you're able to maybe save like one of the legs that it's like you throw it down on one of the legs and it backs off. But yeah, it definitely has an effect. It seems to get them to back away.
Okay, who's on board with me?
Just MSG.
Okay. Right. Let's hurl salt out front so the millipede, centipede, whatever can go through as we clear a path for it. Or is it too many legs gone now?
Oh no, you've got plenty of legs.
Okay.
But you're probably about a quarter of the way there, and you got to come back. So there's that to consider.
So a long way to go.
Yeah.
Let's back out. That's out is closer.
Changing plans.
Yes.
So when you back out, you notice that the legs that were affected have basically corroded. It's like the metal that was, actually it's not even metal. This plasteel, like this kind of mixture, like this composite of like plastic and metal is definitely corroded, and they need to be repaired. But there's plenty of legs, so it's not like it's just losing 8 is going to cause a major issue.
Okay.
Losing 20 might be a problem.
Our poor bus.
The Megapede and the Queen just gave you this. Just saying.
We can't have nice things.
No.
I mean, we just got the queen, and then we've got rid of her too.
We can't even have gross, disgusting things.
We're the worst.
Yeah.
Some of this grass that I see wrapping around the legs, I want to try and soul juice it. See if it'll work. It may not, since I don't know if soul juicing will work on that. But
go ahead and roll your check. You're gonna need an 11. This is gonna be a moderate test.
All right.
Come the grass.
What is soul juicing based off of? Do you remember what we decided on?
I think were we doing aura?
That makes sense. That's kind of
Aura
like the
makes
spiritual
sense.
essence.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think aura is the one that makes sense.
Cool. I got a 7.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
You unfortunately
It's
you
not
try
a
to soul juice, but there's just nothing to squeeze. You're reaching out looking for it, and just it's just dry. It's dry, whatever it is, or it's just this complex intelligence that you just cannot get to.
That sounds right.
Haven't thought of any amazing ideas yet. Doesn't like salt. Maybe we just burn the place to the ground. And by that I mean we burn the ground to the ground.
You know,
So
go ahead. I don't have anything smart to add.
I was wondering with the satraps, what I've got my rainbows and unicorns. You can create illusions and rays of coherent light.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if I could almost, what Dan was saying, try to have a light that hits the ground. If that's something that I can do with that, because I want to see if I can do anything with that.
Okay.
Even
would
from
say
like
you
a
yeah.
distraction perspective, like I kind of
Mhm.
want to see like, could I get it to go over there while we move somewhere else?
I would say you've noticed enough by now that it seems to react to like physical pressure, like on the ground, vibration of some kind. So if can your ability do that, or is it just light? Is it just pure light?
It says scorching rays of coherent light as well as solid planes and lines of hard light.
Is that a no or a yes?
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's
That's
just visual. Like, I think that's visual. It sounds like it's visual to me, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
But none of it sounds like it. Like, if it was making sound, I would say 100% because at least it would have vibrations there. But unless, yeah, I don't think so. It doesn't sound like it's. I would say you would be fairly certain at this point that it's not, unless it's causing a physical impact. It probably wouldn't work.
What could we do that would make...
We could get a drunk.
We do have a lot of vampire wine.
we
Or
do?
make-
No.
or
I'm
we
sure
make
it's got
more-
electrolytes. That's what plants crave.
Yeah.
Or more sleepy coffee.
We need electrolytes.
I like the wine idea. We've got plenty of wine. We could make a commotion and spill some and see what happens.
Or we just ditch these people and go on our way.
It's totally an option.
Now I'm intrigued.
Okay.
I will say, if possibly more so for the curiosity of seeing how it responds to the wine. And if not that, well then, we'll say a prayer for them. Thoughts and prayers.
Unless anybody else has an idea, I can send Phil out to be quick. Like run out, run back.
I mean, either that or technically I have contortions as one of my skills, so maybe I can be nimbly pimbledy or something.
Mm-hmm. These
Maybe
sound like
Phil
fun
could go with
ideas.
you.
I don't need my feet anyways.
Feet are overrated. Look at
We've
me.
learned
I do
anything.
great without them.
If we learned anything from Forbidden Lands, Dan doesn't need feet.
No.
Right.
Okay, so what's the course of action we're taking?
Dan, do you want to take Phil and kind of go out there and then can make a little mini commotion, spill some wine, and then you can make your way back?
Sure, let's do it.
Only if you want to.
Okay, so who's
Nothing
going out?
can go wrong.
Phil or Teapot's going out?
I don't know if we both need to go out. I mean,
Phil's ability is
of them.
pickpocketing, not agility.
I don't have agility either. I just have contortions.
My
Which
suggestion
might-
was that Phil could get on his shoulders. They could go out a little bit. Phil could go a little bit further with the wine and then jump back on Teapot and come back.
I'm perfectly capable of yeeting a bottle of wine.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that.
Teapot, roll a stealth test. So roll, if you have any kind of stealth ability, do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I don't
If
have
not,
that.
agility probably makes the most sense. Okay.
This is what happens to Jeremy's dice.
How far
It's
out do you
okay.
want to go?
Not very.
Okay.
I still want to be able to come back.
You go past like where the body was a little bit that you was closest to you, and then you just like chuck a bottle of vampire wine or two out into the distance. It crashes on the ground, and like within a second, dust kicks up, you see these thrashings of ferns, these lapping over, and when the dust settles, you see that the sort of evidence of the broken, like there's broken bits of the bottle left, but like any signs of the wine has been certainly sucked up.
All right, maybe I'll try and. Are there any like rocks or something? If I could just pick one up and throw it.
Oh yeah,
aside.
of course. You throw it, and you throw it kind of towards where, you know, in the area of where that one was, and it bounces, and you see like the dust kind of kick up, and you see the thrashing kind of happens, but like it's a little bit off its target. It's kind of a little bit like it's not quite getting it, and eventually it does, but it's like kind of flailing around a bit at first, trying to find what made the like kind of the bounce on the ground, and then eventually it finds it. So it like misses a shot or two. It looks like it was slightly disoriented. Your plan may have
successfully inebriated the grass.
Yeah. So the question is, do we kick the grass while it's down? And by that I mean, do we kill it with fire, or do we just try to have the people run?
Do we have enough fire?
I don't know.
We can have as much fire as we need, as long as we've got fuel.
You know, we could have a good laugh and just tell them to run.
Well, you could go see if they have anything that's an intoxicant, because they can help themselves. We can help them our
Sure.
way, and they can help themselves.
I'll go over there and talk to the cranky old guy.
Wait, don't we have booze as part of our trade goods?
Vampire wine, yeah.
Sell them a cask of our booze that we will use to help save them.
That's capital. Just brilliant.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing's free. Plus the 2 bottles of wine that we used to start with weren't on the house.
So Tango, you go and you make the case, like, oh, you know, we'll trade you a cask of, you know, a crate of wine or whatever it is, right? Big blubber, like, how dare you? What is wrong with you? If we had that, we would have used it. We don't actually have that, do we? I finished drinking all the wine hours ago. Now, come on now, man. Are you going to help us or not? This is absolutely absurd.
That's what we're working on, man. Like, we even damaged our vehicle trying to get to you. Like, don't come at me with that noise. We're trying to give you a hand. I'll tell you what, if you don't have your own booze, we would be happy to provide enough booze for you to escape back to the road where it's safe at a fee.
At a fee? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. You're trying to say that you just can't save us out of kindness and decency. You have to profit from it in some manner? That's just barbaric.
You know, I'm glad that you put it in such simple words so I didn't have to find a way to sugarcoat it.
What is it you would want from us?
Money's good, but we work in trade goods or service.
Everything we had has already either been used to make us survive over the last 48 hours, or it's been ruined and it's out there.
Okay. So you don't have any goods. Any of you have special skills?
But I'm an administrator.
So no.
That's a lame skill, man. Like, who needs to administrate things? Like,
You hear a woman, like, she's like, ding, 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 ding. And she's like, yeah, man, I can, if you like art and stuff, I can do a little, like, sculpting and, you know. And you look over and you can see, like, on one of these large outcroppings, she has, like, this really impressive, like, carving that apparently she's been working on for 2 days. She's like, so, yeah, man, like, I've got, like, some pieces and things that I mean, I don't want to be arrogant here, but if you can get us off into the Citadel, I can get you a couple pieces that to a collector, you know.
Okay.
might be worth something.
Now we're talking. Let me go confirm that with the crew, but yeah, I'd be down for that. All right,
But,
don't.
it's okay though. I mean, if you don't want to, like, I mean, that's fine. You know, like, that's cool. We can wait here as well if that's what you prefer.
Okay. I like talking to you a whole lot more.
Well, thanks. It's nice of you.
All right, let me go talk to my friends.
Okay. See ya. So you float on
Goodbye.
over. Okay, you're back over with your friends.
Yeah, they're willing to pay us in art.
I mean, some people pay stupid amounts of money for stupid looking art. So
But how much wine are we gonna have to use to do it? Like, of course, human life is sacred, but you know, if we were to do a cost to benefit ratio, thoughts and prayers.
I mean, if they make enough art, you know, it's probably fine, right?
Yeah, she said she'd have some pieces we could have that we could sell at the Citadel. And she had like maybe she could like teach us to art as well.
Oh, yeah.
And if we just wanted to go in the decorative sense, there's a recommendation in chat that we need a figurehead for the front of our bus. So, you know,
Oh,
we don't have.
yeah.
That's true. That's very true.
Well, now we're talking some sense.
All right.
Now there's motivation.
I'll go tell them.
Okay, so you go tell, you make the arrangements. So mechanically, like, how are we doing this? Like, how, or just sort of like how? So you're just gonna like slowly move up and just chuck wines over and over again and just clear a path.
Yeah, sounds right.
All right. Let's see. Lamb, this was your initial idea, I think. Go ahead and roll a charisma test. We're just gonna resolve this fairly quickly. Roll a charisma test to see how. The plan's gonna work. We're just gonna see how well it works and how many people get taken out.
For agility.
Oh man, my bid rate's going crazy right now.
I
Get
see
taken
that.
out. Just enough will get taken out. Maybe the old man.
Calm down. There we go. I think I'm back.
I think we should make a special effort to make sure to whine around the artist and then less around the other people.
Can I spin a heroic?
You don't have to ask. You can just do it. Like, it's
Okay.
they're yours to spend.
So I'll do this first as just a straight up reroll. And that's shit. So then I'm going to spin another one to add a d6.
Technically, we
not
should be
been a
using
match.
those as advantage as opposed to rerolls, but that's fine.
Yeah. So that's a 13.
Okay, 13's enough to get most of them back. But we'll say somewhere in the process, 4 people of this kind of group of about a dozen. And your way back, you hear... And you look around, and of the 12, only about 8 make it back to the trail. The two people you were speaking with, Tango, they are among those who survive. The kind of the blowhard's like, well, it's about time. I have never been treated so rudely in my life. To expect of victims to pay their saviors, their heroes, the rescuers is just absolutely insane. And I will make sure people hear of you and your reputation, that you let the 4 good people die because you weren't getting paid enough.
I hardly believe that any of you are good. And we just sacrificed our revenues to save you. We've got to eat ourselves, and we just sacrificed a large amount of cargo for you.
Cannibals, they eat their own. You heard them say it right there. Oh,
Of
outrageous.
course we don't. No, you're being ridiculous. And like, I'll use my stretchy ability to like reach out, grab one of the
I'm being
bodies,
ridiculous.
and
Whoa.
pull it to the mouth of one of the vomes, so he can start
Wait.
eating it in front of him.
Wait, what are you doing? Wait, what are you
Feeding
doing?
one of the
bus?
bodies
I'm
to
gonna
Feeding
feed
the
the
bus.
bus in front of him.
Oh God. Oh my God. You are.
Don't call us cannibals.
See,
That's
and-
just rude.
Think about how much more appreciative you should be, because we could have just left you there and then fed your bodies to our own craft. But instead, we waste our own supplies to save you. And this is the appreciation we get.
Yeah.
Hey, I will speak with the leadership council at the Porcelain Citadel about this. This is not the kind of behavior they want to see on the trail surrounding their settlement. They will want to hear of this. And once they do, there will be hell to pay. How
Hey,
dare all of
I
you.
turn to my nearest companion and say, it's not too late. We could still feed him to the megapede.
Oh,
I mean,
that's
Yeah.
threatening now.
Making
You're
a
murdering
terrible
the very
case.
people you save.
Listen, man, like it sounds like you're just giving us a lot of hassle. So I think we're giving you two
I start
choices
loading my
here.
crossbow.
Yeah, like
No, don't waste the ammunition. The
You
grass
need
will
to-
sober up.
yeah, you need to like stop and just be cool and stop threatening us, or I'll just make you walk back out into the grass.
Make a charisma, like an intimidation test. That's some kind of charisma thing.
All right.
Seeing Khalil load his crossbow, watching this, like the Meg just chomping on the dead body a little bit as it's like dissolving in the bus acid. Well, I never, but so be it. I'll be quiet.
Right. You're not going to go tattling on us, right?
Of course not. On my saviors? Of course not.
All right.
How many of them were left?
8.
8.
It's better than none.
I think we have sacks to spare with all of the moss that we got. So if everybody's okay with it, I'll pass along 4 sacks of the moss that we got.
It's
I'm cool with
food.
that.
It's not the
So
best.
here is
food.
some. You said you lost some food, so here is some food.
Well, somebody has a decent bone in their body. Do you have bones? No mind.
Of a
Thank
sort, they largely stretch and.
Phil
Ugh.
would just sort of come out and wave.
MSG, you do notice that like your sudden shifting actually draws the attention of the sculptor. Kind of like looks over. She looks over to your direction. Like, huh, that's pretty interesting. Do all of you? Are you all able to do that?
No. Your
Just-
face right now is just wonderful, and I'll make myself look like her. I mean, it's
Oh.
still with the green skin and all the other weird
Oh.
trappings, but I can change my facial structure to match hers.
So you're a cat that can like shift, and you're leading like a caravan.
Leading? No, we're a family. This is, a
Oh.
trip to the stars.
Okay. All right. There's like someone looking for you, man.
Huh?
Just,
For him or for us?
I mean, like for all of you, I guess, but it's
Pray
just
tell
a
who?
caravan with like a shape shifting cat that like, gets people to do things that they don't want to do. You just heard some rumors, man. That's all.
Oh, perhaps it was Cracker's family.
Well, yeah, they did ask about that back at the crossroads. It's a group of, I don't know, like, bounty hunters or something.
Oh no.
Yeah. I
They
don't know.
think that Crackers
saved
came
me.
with us against his will.
I know, what nonsense.
Nah,
That man was a
family.
hero.
Apparently, like his brother is just all mad, and he's like a big deal.
He's
know.
probably just jealous because he wasn't as cool as Crackers.
Of course.
I don't pretend to know anything about it, but you saved us, so I mean, for now, I thought maybe I would die out there, but I guess not. That's good. That's good.
Maybe you can die with us some other day.
Yeah, when the great tentacled unity rises up from the ground to kind of swallow us all whole, like that'd be fun, right? It kind of just like
Probably.
slaps one of you on the back, like this weird kind of distant glazed eye.
Yeah.
I mean, for us, we're looking for the stars, which, I mean, if you want a fantastic view to see the tentacles coming up, it would be the stars.
Okay, man. Like you're yeah. That's good perspective. That's good. Anyway, don't worry about the shepherd guy. He's an asshole.
We noticed.
Yeah.
He can still be fed to our engine.
No one really likes him, but I guess he owned all the goats and stuff.
Well, there's no more goats, right?
No. So I don't know. He's just a guy now.
Okay.
I'm not saying that I kill him or anything. I mean, whatever.
Ah, well.
We're all gonna die, so it doesn't matter.
Can appreciate the angst of an identity crisis.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. I like that.
You're an absolute joy. What is your name, by the way?
Oh, me? And she just like kind of takes off this big old giant hat she has on. It's like, oh, she kind of ruffles her hair a bit. I'm Goria. Nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you too, Gloria.
You might have seen some of my work before.
Well, if we haven't, I definitely want to.
Yeah. Goria original and everything.
You should join us so that you can tag the moon.
Tag the moon.
Do art on it.
I prefer like sculpture and relief. But okay.
Go
Yeah.
art that moon.
Hey. That sounds like fun. It does. I'm not gonna lie.
Excellent. I
Okay.
can tell Tango likes you, and that speaks volumes.
Yeah.
Oh, the ghost guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's me. I'm Tango.
Cool.
Tango
I-
Carne.
I don't think you're safe. Just so you know.
Who, me personally?
Right.
Or us
Yeah.
as a whole?
No, like, ghosts and things. Just saying. Like I don't think that great tentacled unity, differentiates species and things like that.
Equal opportunity consumer.
Right. That I like that. Equal opportunity consumer. That's good. I like it. Okay. It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Yeah. Okay. All right. You got like can I like go in the bus?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
All
pretty
right.
cool.
I've never seen a bus like this before. The Polybody's got all sorts of walkers, but nothing like this. It's gonna be
Guess
great.
this came from space.
Seriously? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It did, didn't it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what this space thing you're talking about is. Like all of this
It's
is
us.
space.
Uh,
Oh, like the void stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Now I get you. Yeah. Okay. Just like, different words for things. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna go take a nap. Is that cool?
Welcome, Gloria.
Like really tired.
yeah, that's fine.
All right. Peace. Just climbs up into the bus at that point.
Wonderful.
Okay. Do you take everybody with you?
at least give him a ride.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is our chance to look good ish. You know,
Chloe has joined the Shining Force.
good ish.
Okay.
Ish. Ish.
So you guys get back on the trail and you get going. Next couple of days are relatively uneventful. Occasional annoyances, like you can hear like a guffaw from the shepherd every now and then, whose apparently name is Centena, and he's just whenever he sits down to eat, he's like, oh, I can't believe they're making me eat this. But then at like one little hint of dissatisfaction from any of you, he just quickly, oh, I mean, how delicious, and just kind of very meekly eats it. But you guys continue on to the end. A couple days pass. Weather is agreeable, and finally you crest this kind of large hill. And when you get to the very top, you see up ahead the Porcelain Citadel. You see between where you're at and, probably about 2 miles down this hill, and there's some undulating road. You eventually see what looks like these mechanical walkers that are patrolling the flatlands in between, ferrying these regal polybodies across these lush orchards of trees and other strange vegetation that doesn't seem to align with perfect botany. You see tourists and engineers that are kind of climbing the hills off to the east and to the west that flank this central citadel, this large, almost carved out of that same kind of dryland coral before. It's just this kind of devil's horn kind of sticking up into the sky, the fingers themselves almost looking like towers into their own rights. You see what looks like this massive ring of these enormous defense golem busts. So just think of like a person from the chest up, and they're like kind of scattered about. Each one of them dwarfs your alien megapede segment by at least 10 to 20 times. You see these large kind of orange, yellow, crystalline subsections within their foreheads, and occasionally they kind of shift and move ever so slightly, fairly threateningly. Once or twice at a distance, you might see one kind of suddenly glow, and this huge beam of light just ejects out of the forehead and hits the ground somewhere, and there's a poof of smoke that just kind of cooks up from it. Whatever was there likely annihilated. And before you can digest all of this, and before you really kind of get up into that rim of those golems, you are suddenly, all of you, Ensen included, overwhelmed by a sense of coldness that comes over you. This just out of nowhere, not a gust of wind, nothing, just a sense of intense cold. Even you, Tango, you feel the sensation. And then you look ahead and you see this blurring and the darkening of this red tinted sky that you had seen the backdrop as the backdrop for the Citadel. And suddenly it gets darker and darker and blurry, like this almost navy purplish color. And there within the capital, you see the True Mother showing herself once more to all of you, her physical form of perfection flickering into existence. She's either, you're not sure, either towering over the settlement itself, making those golem defenses look even meager, or it's just a trick of the horizon with the eye. And it's a vision that begins to unfold, something that you all are familiar with, but it's different. So, let's see. As you're watching her, you can see that the ground between yourselves and her is suddenly like clogged, which is herds of some kind of bestial creature. MSG, what do you see?
Some sort of creature, you say?
Yeah, like bestial, not like mechanical. Something like actual beast-like.
Okay, excellent. I mean, clearly, see if it's majestic. It's like some sort of lion, I think. A big hunting cat.
Okay, you see these large, colorful lions that are kind of sprawling about in the areas between you and these orchards and this now kind of darkened citadel. And you also notice as you're kind of watching these little groups, these little prides, kind of moving about. Tango, you're watching the sky, and you see like the true mother kind of holds her hand up, her hand almost blurring to the point you can't kind of count the digits. And suddenly these beans start raining down. What color are those beans?
Oh, they're like that spacey blue-white, like lightsaber blue-white kind of beams coming down. Like,
okay. And you see, like, as you're watching, that they're not just beams, but they are, in fact, these long swords, almost like blades that just drop down as if they're like raining down on the citadel. And you can even, vaguely see in this blurring of this destruction. As all of you are experiencing this, I think it's, let's see, Teapot. You hear a sound that's kind of not what you quite expect. It's not explosions. It's not like calls of pain, but it's some other sound that is creating this level of dissonance with the vision. Something that's something that you wouldn't expect to hear. Like, so it's not the sounds of the roar of the lions or anything like that. What is it?
It's got to be like birthday party like sounds, like kazoos and children cheering or something.
Kazoos and children cheering. And it's just the most bizarre dissonance whatsoever, to the point where you're almost thinking, like, what is in this moss? What have we been eating? And then as you're kind of looking around, Lamb, and you're staring about for this the sign of like what this might be, you kind of get overwhelmed by a scent. It's not the cinnabar ash anymore, but it's something else. What is it? And it's very pungent, very noticeable. It's not subtle in any way. What is it you smell?
I would say it's the overwhelming smell of like barbecue.
Oh, okay. Like something being cooked.
Mm-hmm. Like this, like a smoker.
Like a charcoal-ish type. Okay, got it. Yeah, and you almost see flames starting to flicker up from what looks like the citadel. And then finally, Khalil, as all of these images are beginning to cascade, you suddenly start to experience a memory that you can only describe as foreign. It's not like it's like you are in the memory, you are experiencing the memory. It is not a memory that you yourself, Khalil Abu, has ever actually experienced. It's something else. What is this a memory of?
Sitting at an office desk, the vision keeps looking over at the clock, and it's like 10 minutes till 6. And every time the head bobs over and looks at the clock, it's still 10 minutes till 6. Like half an hour feels like it's gone by, and the person's got to urinate, and it's still 10 minutes till 6, and nothing changes.
And all of you just like, you envision this cubicle life. You look at, like, you're looking at the clock. You feel this pain begin to kind of overwhelm you, this coldness. You feel your bladders, and Tango, the sensation of what once was a bladder, begins to just kind of pierce and burst. And then all of you suddenly wake up laying on the ground, having just relieved yourselves.
This is normal.
Oh, that's good.
Your skeletal porters are helping you up. Your newly found friends, like Gory and such, like, you guys okay? As all of you, Tango, you obviously there's no liquid around you, but you know what you did. You know.
maybe a little bit of my blue body is just turned green from the introduction of yellow.
God. But as you guys all look up at that's great. As you look at the horizon, the image of the true mother is gone. The image of the sky has returned. The horizon's returned to its kind of ashy red. And everything was once as it was when you first crested it. You realize you have just been gifted another vision. You know that somewhere in the area, somewhere around the citadel, or in its near, or it's an outlying area somewhere nearby. She's trying to point you all to a key, a clue to how to ascend.
All right. Well, apparently part of it's going to be destroying the Citadel, right? Anybody else get that? No?
I mean,
That's what it looked like.
it's par for the course, right?
In office work.
Oh,
Are we going to put cubicles in Cracker's barrel?
It's going to be important to be at the right place at the right time.
I somehow
the-
feel like paperwork is involved in filing. Lots of filing.
Damn it.
We need stamps.
And
So-
follow our noses.
You all slowly work your way within the defense golem line, and you have arrived at the Porcelain Citadel. Okay, so you all basically get a week here to hang out, recuperate. We get to dig back into these settlement actions, these destination actions. So everyone basically can do something. If you forgot about them, I will share them with you once more. So the idea is like, it's like the interval is like a week. So you're here for like a week, selling stuff, recuperating, exploring to find some of the discoveries like you did when you were at the crossroads for the step. You can do some market research. You can carouse. Some of you have money now, so you can actually use carousing to get some XP, things like that. You can also do camp actions and try to recuperate if anyone's down on.
I'm down so many points.
Yeah, you're welcome to do that as well. You can study as well if I know everyone most everyone I think just hit their next level, which means you can study and try to get access to new abilities, all that kind of stuff. So you arrive at this Porcelain Citadel, and everywhere you look, I mean, there's you pass by what effectively are dozens and dozens and dozens of these like mechanical walkers of different sizes and shapes, moving around. Some of whom, like, again, they're carrying people. They almost seem like these regal folk. You are more than once disturbed by like encountering people or overhearing people on the road. Or between buildings and locations, talking all in unison, 5, 6 people all at once, talking in perfect unison, perfect harmony, as if they are one mind. And those of you unfamiliar with polybodies, you are going to quickly become familiar with it here at the Porcelain Citadel.
I'm not sure which of them I'm supposed to look at when I'm talking to them.
I feel a bit sad. The Queen really would have loved it here.
yeah, she would have.
What if this whole place became the Queen?
She may find her way here once she's done with her adventuring.
Can only hope.
Now you also have a couple hooks. So you know that Circle Angelo had asked you all to look into Greenware Pentad 5 body, who is an adherent to the True Mother, who was supposed to kind of like pave the way forward for you all, but they had stopped communicating, sending communications back. Khalil, you had picked up a specialty package of medical supplies that was intended for Orangeware Mark II Duo. And then there's just all these different actions that you can take. So you've got like a week to sort of, fix some of the stuff on the caravan, recuperate, speak to people, carouse, look around, explore. What kind of stuff would you all want to be doing now that you're back kind of in some semblance of civilization?
Let's deliver the mail first so that we get money.
Okay. Okay, yeah, if that's the first thing we want to do, we can totally do that.
And then how about lodgings? Like, are we just pulling up our caravan somewhere and setting up tents, or is that allowed? Or are we having to find lodgings?
So there are some options. It kind of depends exactly how much you want to spend. You know that you can get a sort of decent lot for your caravan to kind of park and then stay within kind of an area that would be considered respectful. Would probably cost about 100 cash a week. But if you wanted to slum it within the city, you probably could find a place that would be more like 3 cash per week. You can also try to park your caravan outside of the Citadel itself, but that has the, there's the potential of always having issues outside the Citadel. As you're exploring, by the way, you learn that these defense golems are no joke. In many places, you see these craters in the ground, some recent, and you see the bodies of what look like drunkards and kind of vomes and other creatures that, as you ask around, you learn that they were not following like kind of settlement law. They were aggressive and violent, or they pretended to be somebody they weren't. They disrespected one of the princes, stuff like that. So from what you're gathering, disruption of the social order could net with some very quick death. Yes. It's like
Is this a threat to Tango?
It's a threat to.
I'm gonna. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Now you did have 8 people that you could potentially have that you did get. You just saved 8 people. So if you wanted to retroactively say that you had taken over one, I'm fine with that.
Oh, can I try and take over the leader, dude?
Yeah, that'll be a roll though. I want you to roll that one.
That
the other one I would
antenna?
have just gave you.
What's that?
Is that antenna? Did I hear? Centena.
It's like Santana, just with an E.
I'm Carlos Centena, and my best hit was with that one guy from that one band.
With...
Super. 14. I am going to spin my heroics and add a d6 to that.
Okay.
3, so
right.
19.
Okay, it's going to be contested. So I'll roll this in the open. He'll get a +2. 18.
Ooh.
You do. He's a tough cookie. He's as you worm your way into him at night, and you kind of maybe you wait specifically for when he's sleeping or when he's just kind of going into REM sleep, and that's when you get him. And maybe you did it like a day or two in, and so his demeanor shifted, and all of you kind of knew this. Maybe people within the other party didn't. Goria probably doesn't give a shit one way or the other, but you now have Centena, the shepherd, at your disposal.
Nice.
Okay. But the whole time you're hearing, "Oh, dare you? What is wrong?" Like every now and then he just pops in with his indignation, like, "How dare you take over my mind? This is unheard of. This is this is wrong. I am a great shepherd." Okay.
Loading that crossbow again.
His mental thoughts are leaking out.
All right. So Bert had said he wanted to track down. Okay. So the first thing you guys will try to do is you'll try to get to the are you all going to hand this in, or are people going to split off and do other things here and there? They have other tasks they want to attend to.
We're in a new town. I don't think we should split up. Really?
Yeah.
That seems fair.
At least to start, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So and I'm assuming you're going to find are you going to, so in terms of like parking your caravan, are you going to go for the kind of the cheap neighborhood where you're kind of being looked down upon by others, or are you going to go for the richer one where you're going to potentially earn at least a amount of decency and respect from the
Well, let's find out how much money we can get gathered first, right? Like just park outside for right now and then go and do the deliveries.
And for what it's worth, we've got like a big lump of that Vomtech. That's like a major sale to make. Having a good image probably would help.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna need some cash to start that.
Khalil, roll a charisma test as you start asking around for this greenware Pentad 5 body.
Okay. I've got some of that. So do you add your level to this as well, or just your stat?
It's your stat, and if you think there's a skill that would apply to like just kind of you're just
I have
talking
protocol.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll take it.
Okay. So is it a +1?
So that you would take your bonus. So your bonus right now
Take
I
your
believe
bonus,
is +2.
okay.
Yeah.
So 2, 3 + 3. Okay.
Okay.
16.
Yeah. Yeah, you hear that apparently so you're specifically looking for orange. This is Orangeware Mark II. This is for the medical supplies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They can be found over in the high houses. Now, the high houses are like a series of embassies and workshops and these barracks of various porcelain eunuchs and other merchants and things. There's a bunch of these little ton of villa complexes that kind of connect in one section within the Golem network. And when you start exploring and trying to get into some of these like mosaic tunnel complexes, it's a very dizzying affair trying to find your way around. There's no signage whatsoever. You get this general sense that if you know where you're going, you know where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, you probably shouldn't be here anyway. And so anytime any of you might have asked questions about like where might I find this person or which way is this, and more than once you kind of get lost within these little tunnels. But eventually you do come across Orangeware Mark II Duo, who, as far as you know, is this when you kind of find them, they're in a small shop that seems to sell some kind of like apothecary-like goods. And when you approach them, they're both wearing these big flowing orange robes. They don't look identical, but there are two bodies, one male, one female. But when they speak to you, they speak in an echo as they speak the exact same words. What may I do for you today? And they say with very kind of this regal charm as they look at you, waiting for your request.
I am but a humble physician, but my capacity today is to deliver a package. I believe you're waiting on certain medical supplies.
Oh, well, we were expecting you weeks ago. Well, hopefully.
Well, you understand the travails of travel right now. It's just not the easiest thing.
Of course, but the trek from Violet City to the Porcelain Citadel is not without its dangers, but weeks late.
I understand. If you don't want it, I understand. Unforgivable at best. It's quite okay. I can find another buyer. Thank you.
Well, perhaps you might. Perhaps you not. Let me inspect the contents first, and if they're still usable, then perhaps we can make an arrangement.
Sure. Let them look, but also I am a surgeon, a medic, so I will also inspect to see if they are.
So you start opening these sealed packages, which had been sealed this whole time because they have they are sealed. So like anybody who would have opened them, it would have been noticeable. And as they start opening them, you notice inside there are limbs and organs everywhere. It's just limbs and organs and all of these packages here and there. And
my specialty is surgery with knives, so I am into this. It's like, that's the freshest spleen I've seen in a while.
Okay, and of all of the different boxes that you were sent, like they were like probably about 10 to 12 different boxes. Of them all, 9 seem to still be intact, but 3 at some point the refrigeration got damaged along the way. You notice that there is just chunks of this cinnabar ash that has gotten within some of the mechanized refrigeration and just ruined everything. So there's boxes filled that are awful. The minute you open them,
these are obviously bad. Well, we'll just take these aside. I've got a megapede that will be happy to take these.
Megapede. They look at you, megapede, and they megapede, and everything's echoed and echoed and echoed. Well, this isn't exactly the quantity we had requested, but we will pay a proportionate fee, of course. Now, if you are looking for additional work, my connection might have more delivery work of this kind and you can see they both kind of like look around, but they do parallel, and like if that is, you can be discreet.
Oh, of course. Of course.
And a little bit more expedient in your delivery.
I can but try.
Oh. Well, you'll need to speak with Junkie Bunko. He runs the body trade. And when they say that, they kind of whisper in the body trade within these areas.
I'm very handy with the surgery and the knives. Does he need a strip down man?
Well, that's very kind
someone
of you
to
to offer.
part out, the wares.
Very kind of you to offer, but that would be a job that is more than adequately filled currently.
Ah, I see.
But if you have transport reliable, and you could make your way across the grasslands, there's more work. We have a very sensitive network that we have to maintain. Not everyone is, well, shall we say, happy with how we acquire some of our goods. But there's at least 1,000 cash in it for you.
Certainly. Now, I will say, we expect to be in town for a few weeks to freshen up, recover, and ply our trade a bit here. But yes, I think we'd be very interested in that.
Of course. Well,
Did you see the quality of these eyeballs, by the way?
oh, they are quite
so
delightful.
good.
Quite
Look,
delightful. I am very
Optic
distressed.
nerves still attached.
Yes. These tongues, however, oh goodness, were they from some sort of cattle? Oh God.
Oh, no. See by the lesions on the left and right side there, it just came from someone who had a penchant for very spicy food.
Oh goodness.
Someone
See,
took
look,
my
get-
tongue and I didn't
If the,
know.
you could still smell the spices, and that's curry, I believe.
Composite polybody construction is just a very difficult trade, and we need the highest quality of ingredients to be able to create proper replacements. Goodness, I'll have to have a word with my distributor within the Violet City. This, of course, is not your concern. I will not shoot the messenger. And they both laugh.
I love my crossbow.
So they will pay you 300 cash for this, and they will say before you leave, speak with Junkie Bunko. You can find him, and they give you directions within the high houses where you might be able to speak with them, and they might have additional work for you.
Oh, and I'll just take this rotten bit, so just off the table.
Oh, yes,
I'll
please.
dispose of these.
No, thank you very much. Ugh, goodness. Ugh, awful. And yeah, you get your cash, and you depart with potential more work later. Okay. What do you want to do? That was all done within a day, So you have your destination actions. Like, what were your character? If you don't really know exactly which would have fit in, just kind of just say what you would want to do, and then we can kind of figure out mechanically how it might work.
So we're kind of discussing in chat that we might need to be a little delicate with selling all of this phone tech. Like, it's not necessarily just going to the up and up dealer
Yes.
with this stuff. So
Yes.
But it already sounds
yeah.
like we're being put in contact with some people who are into some
Right.
shady stuff. So
Well, yeah. I mean, that's definitely a body market, which is a different market. But yeah, it's you got the. I mean, Khalil, you 100% got the sense this is kind of a black market shady thing that you're doing. Like, very
As in
lucrative.
real life, Jeff, the non-legal engagements typically do pay more.
Indeed, they do. Now the Vomtech stuff, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, you would know that like the people who like this kind of tech, porcelain princes, like who are trying to like prolong their lives and kind of mess around with networking and things, would be very, very interested in this. The right ones, Some would be absolutely horrified by it, and you could get into significant trouble. Also, having an ultra in your mix could get you in significant trouble. And if anybody found out that your megapede was once within the network of a Vomish queen that you then freed, also these are things that might not go over well in the Porcelain Citadel. So it's a double-edged sword. Like, you could potentially find someone to sell these to. It all depends on kind of some luck rolls, some charisma rolls, and things like that to see whether or not you get a good payoff here.
You know, a lot of that stuff is just unnecessary information.
I've got a 2, and I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to spending the week-long destination action for the schmoozing.
Oh, the schmooze with advantage or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
I kind of want to try and learn about like how I could fix our bus.
Okay.
I think that was like, I don't know if that's like something that you can do as a ability. I'm not sure.
Setting up in the nicer quarters for this kind of vision, you know, like someone had said, might give us a bit more air of legitimacy, and we might make some better contacts that way. So might be worth doing.
Okay. So you set up on the nicer side of town, within the Golem Defense Network, and you set up, and the whole time you're kind of traveling out, people are kind of ogling your bus. Like, this is kind of it fits in the sense that this is a feat of engineering, but at the same time, it looks nothing in terms of its overall design to some of the walkers that you see moving about. But you also, since you're specifically asking about a teapot, you do get word that over there's a garage that apparently is known for servicing Vex. So these large walkers, that's run by someone by the name of Lazaro Romero, who, if you wanted to try to learn a skill, like replace one of your other skills with this one or something like that, you could potentially do that, or just kind of ask them to do it and pay them to do it. But if you wanted it to learn yourself, that's a potential mentor or tutor. So Lazaro Romero is apparently a contact for you.
Okay. I don't necessarily think I'm going to get much from narco herbalism or nomad raiding, so maybe I might swap one of them.
Okay. Sure. All right. And then I think, Melissa, you said you were going to do some haggling.
I don't even remember what those do anymore, to be honest.
I'm going to do the week
Pretty
long.
much whatever you want them to do.
Schmooze them hard to make a deal happen.
And what are you trying to sell?
The tech.
Okay, you're gonna try to sell the Vomish tech. Okay.
Yep.
So, do you have any skills that you think that might involve something something that has to do with like buying and selling, haggling? Any sort of skills that would apply?
Profiteering.
Sure, that definitely would work. So go ahead, and you would want to, and you can choose if you want right now. If you wanted to to roll an advantage, you can with your heroic. But you would first need to do like a market research action to kind of determine what the price is around here before doing the haggling. The haggling would be something separate. So you're really just kind of getting the lay of the land to see who might be interested, if anybody is interested, and then trying to haggle with them is a whole separate thing. The haggling stuff is like an optional stuff. So you can always just find out what the price is, and if you like the price, just make the sale. But if you wanted to try to push the price even better, then you would do a secondary action. So
do we want to intend to spend a couple weeks here, and maybe we could do a week on research and then a week on buy and sell? That way we know.
What does everybody else think?
I mean, we do need to find whatever the next divine clue is here. So
I was just going to spend the week carousing, breaking in this new body.
Okay. And plus, you guys need to heal too. So that's the other thing. Like, some of you are down stat points, and so no, it makes perfect sense that you would post up here for a couple of weeks, and it's perfectly fine. So Lamb, do you want to? So basically, you're doing market research. So you can spend 1 day in money equal to local expenses to learn the price of a trade good in an adjacent destination or here. So basically, just roll a charisma test, and you can add your profiteering skill.
+4.
Higher is better. If you wanted to roll with advantage, you can burn your heroic now, or you can just save them to use as extra d6s to add to your total.
Yeah, I'll save.
Okay, so then roll your check.
11.
Okay. I mean, it's up to you. You tell me when you want to, like, again, higher the better is the general rule for this roll. So if you want to burn any heroics to increase that.
I just have one, so I'll save it for later for the actual sale.
You should, all of you should have gotten a second one at 8 o'clock, by the way, like or at whatever the hell time it is for you guys. It's 8 for me, but halfway through you get another one.
Sweet. Okay.
Okay.
Then I will
Nice.
spend 1 and add a d6.
Okay.
So I have 13.
Okay. So you know that this is super apropos. This is popular but illegal here, with stiff penalties for anyone caught dealing.
Yeah.
However, it would basically, like, if you were to sell this anywhere, if you were to like sell this back at like Violet City or just kind of on the road encounters, like you could probably earn about 2 times the normal price here. So this kind of confirms the notion that you could potentially get a lot. 1 second. So this is the Vomish tech, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is going to cost. So the average price for this. Okay.
'Cause
So basically,
we had tech from 2 different places because we had a bunch
We got
last session
quite,
and then
quite
we
a
had
lot
some
of it.
session before from the
right.
canyon.
So basically on like the regular cost of this would be like 500 per unit. But if you were to manage to successfully sell it here, it would be 1,000 per unit.
Ooh,
We have a crap ton of it, don't we?
we do.
Okay. And so, yeah, so that was essentially Satrap 956 Lamb spending a significant period of time moving about the high houses and some of the other locations, speaking with some of the merchants, getting the lay of the land, learning who to talk to ask these types of questions without drawing too much attention, and getting the sense that this is a good place for it if you can find the right person to sell to.
Okay.
Tango, you said you want to do some carousing in your new Centena body.
Yeah.
So we haven't done carousing before, so let's just kind of I'll walk you through it. So carousing involves money. So so the basic idea is that it's kind of random, and like a certain certain things could happen, but the rule of thumb is whenever you arrive in a large settlement, which this is, you can blow 1d6 exploding, so meaning if you roll 6s, you have to roll another d6, times 100 on a week of hard partying and gain that amount of XP. Then after that happens, you roll a charisma test on a table that I have to see what happened. But if you can't cover the debt that you rolled, so if you roll too much and you run out of money, you roll at disadvantage, because lower on the table, bad things can happen. But in a fun way. So go ahead, roll a d6, and since we're specifically in the Citadel, it's 1d6 times 200 here.
Okay.
Not how you all have money.
Okay, so it's only 800 spent on a week of debauchery, and then go ahead and roll a charisma test, and you can cover it, I think, right? You guys have enough cash.
Yeah.
Good.
We just got, because we had 750 left and we just got 1,000. I
Good.
think from the sale.
Okay.
Khalil made.
I have a 12.
So, over the course of the week, you spend your time kind of drinking at a couple different establishments, conversing with a variety of different folks. Specifically, you spend a little time at a place called Your Life Burns Faster in this house. And while there, you get to talking with what you believe are, you sort of slowly learned are these Redland District radicals and pseudo-dwarves who talk about revolution. And at least that's what you think that you all were talking about. You were so drunk, who the hell knows what you were talking about? And at a certain point, Tango, maybe, you know, the vibrance, their excitement, their idealism sets in, like taking down those who are currently in power kind of sets in, and you decide that you're going to join their revolutionary cause. But then you realize at a certain point, when you find yourself actually like on the dance floor, that at no point was there actually really a cause. This was really just a very elaborate dance contest. And in the process, it was a very fun dance contest, and you actually won a pie, which is great. A very wonderful pie. However, roll a d4.
Oh my God.
3.
However, Centena is so exhausted. The body of Centena is so exhausted that by the end of the week, he has -3 strength just from all of the intense dancing and revolutionary discussion that he and you engaged in over the course of that week.
Can stats go negative? They can go negative, right?
No, they can't.
There's a track.
Yeah, you basically become fatigued. You take a point of fatigue.
You're grumpy.
Yeah.
Or
So by the end of it, you're grumpy. You have a pie. Your body is exhausted, and you could have swore that you remember conversations about some kind of revolutionary upbringing. You know, like you're going to take down the man, and then, but then at the end, the last memories you had is being in a dance contest and winning a pie.
Okay, it's going to be a great story to tell.
Yes.
kind of
Okay. Oh yeah, what kind of pie?
Oh, do I get to pick that? It's key lime.
It's key lime pie. That makes sense. The lime nomads are just up the road.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
As far as I can tell, you must have beat the man.
So
yeah, man.
Beat the man to be the man.
So in terms of like weekly actions, Lamb and Tango have done theirs. Khalil and Teapot, I'm saying that you're finding your connections. That's not a weekly action. It's more just sort of something you did in the interim. So you two still have a weekly action. In MSG as well, you have a specific weekly action. And so just like to run through them again, because I know it's been a little bit since we did them. Some particularly useful ones, like if you're looking for, if you're gonna try to if you're trying to discover the clues left behind by the True Mother, then Explore is probably the one, because you're looking for discoveries, because likely it's somewhere around here. Someone else could do the buy and sell action, and then any camp action would be fine too. So if you wanted to study to try to get access to your ability, we are homebrewing our skill and ability stuff a little bit, but if you wanted to do acquire a new ability, because all of you, with the exception of Khalil, who gave some of his XP to his pet, all of you should have gotten to the next level, which means you have access now to potentially getting an ability, but you do need to take the study action to sort of practice it first before you gain access to it. So that's what study could do. Forage could be trying to we're treating it like when you're in a settlement, it's kind of like shopping and kind of getting more resources that you might need for the road. And if you wanted to care for somebody to help them recover their damage attributes, that's another thing you could potentially do. All of you will be able to do some just base healing just from hanging out here for a week. But if you wanted to accelerate it, you can do that as well. So with that in mind, what do you guys want to do?
I'm torn because I want to explore, but I would also like to learn a new ability. But I think explore first. This is a holy mission.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. So go ahead and this is another charisma test. Specifically, if you have a skill that it's usually let me double check one thing. But if you have any sort of skill that might have to do with maybe it depends on kind of how you want to flavor it. Like, is this MSG actually going out on his own and doing it physically in his his retinue? Then it could be kind of any sort of searching or navigational type skill. But if this is more like finding rumors, then it could be a social skill. Kind of however you want to flavor it up is fine with me.
I don't have a ton of stuff. Like the closest I have to a social skill is the big game hunter lets you like chomp on cigars and tell tall tales.
That's fine. I'll take it if you want to like. No, I'm fine with it.
I think he would go with that and just kind of following the vision that we saw that weird, colorful herd of tribe, the lions or whatever. Yeah, he's gonna follow up on that. Just kind of go with his gut.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your d20, add your charisma and the skill for your carousing.
Okay, that gets me up to a +4. Bless you.
Do you want to add a d6 to that or anything?
I'll add a d6 to that. I'll use my heroic.
Okay. You can. Do you have another heroic you want to add? Right now, I would say you're at 1 discovery. You would be able to find like 1 place this week.
Actually, I do. I have 1 last heroic left.
You would need to get to a 20, though. I will say.
Meh.
Okay.
The dice are not kind tonight.
That's all right. You're gonna, like you guys were saying, you're gonna stay here a little bit longer, so it's not like you have to worry about all of it in one go. But you do discover a conversation, interestingly enough, about this terror. There's nothing about the lions, by the way. Like you ask about that, and everyone's just like, there haven't been lions of that sort in this area in quite some time. The Porcelain Princess, the defense walkers would have none of it. Absolutely none of it. That's absolutely ludicrous. What's wrong with you? You're so stupid. Get the fuck out of here. That kind of stuff. But you do learn that there is a very terrifying looking pyramid that has drawn some interest. It's about 4 days from the Porcelain Citadel. And from what you've heard, there is some kind of the rumor is there's some kind of sort of inventor, kind of innovator who has taken up residence within it and is kind of experimenting with animals. So maybe your lion stuff might have to do with that there. So that's called
possibly go wrong.
Yeah. So that's that'll be the discovery you locate.
Cool.
Okay. Khalil or Teapot, what are you dedicating your week to?
One thing. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Mine's not going to be very exciting.
Well, what I kind of want to do is be plying my trade as a surgeon, coffee making on the side, but I really am interested on this black market trade of organs.
Okay.
So I want to spend my time like learning the skill of like underground criminal activities in the organ trade.
Okay. We can treat this
different
as
organ trail.
Okay. It's Oregon Trail. There's a game called Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
Or Oregon. It's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we can treat this if you want to. We'll treat this like a carousing roll, but we'll dedicate it specifically to trying to find your way into this specific subsection of the society. So it's a charisma test as you try to ingratiate yourself.
Now, because I'm kind of trying to enter in as hey, I'm really good at carving up things. Can I take my surgery as a bonus?
I think that's fair. Yeah, absolutely.
16?
Okay.
You know what? I'm not happy with that. I'm going to spend one of my heroics to add another D6 to that. You can do that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 18.
Okay. So you spend your week, and maybe you go back to Orangeware or maybe you try to locate this Jonky Bunko that they reference. But you
Can
find
I
yourself.
tell you what I am kind of imagining,
absolutely.
Jeff? Sorry.
Please. Yeah, go right
So
ahead.
you know how like car thieves take cars, they've got these garages where they strip out all the parts and they, just file serial numbers. That with bodies.
You eventually find yourself mixed up with a group that identifies themselves as the Purple Hazers, which are apparently a body snatching and kind of organ and limb removal and redistribution company. And they refer to themselves as a company, and this whole idea of black market is just it's just very unsatisfying to them, because people need limbs and people need organs and all that kind of thing.
And some people have far too many. I understand.
And you spend a significant amount of time in a place called the Broken Line. So the Broken Line is it's basically like servants' quarters. But as you go in there one night with your newfound purple hazing friends, you realize that like it's a barracks, but it's for broken bodies. And in this kind of very dark way, all of you just start sifting through these people that are sleeping in these bunk beds here and there. They explain it to you. Your newfound friends explain how these are bodies that have been broken in service to the porcelain princes, and how some of them like still have a consciousness to them, but most are just like dumb beasts, and they're just waiting for like the Vivimancer's knife and everything like that, and sort of this recycling. And so why don't we just cut in line a bit is kind of the idea. And so all of these people at some point were part of like a larger polybody. And it could be any of kind of a number of fairly important polybodies. And so by the end of the week, you're going to have, for your own collection, as like the Purple Hazers are going to take the bulk of it, but you're going to have, oh, that seems kind of sad. I'll give you a second one. You're going to have two broken polybodies, both of whom, as you're talking to them and like they're not being able to communicate, and you're kind of looking and kind of marking off where's the good parts, what can you carve and shave off, who claim that they were once parts of, what's it called? They were once part of a polybody by the name of Bone Cowlin. No, that's not right. Sorry. Black Pot 5 body, which was apparently plotting to overthrow like something, this like evil prevention act, this other polybody, and they were killed during like this fight between multiple polybodies. And so you have these like leftover things, and they have these memories that are kind of in their brains here and there, and you might be able to tap into that and find some juicy info about some of the porcelain princes who are in power in the Citadel.
Okay.
All right.
Nice.
And Mr. Teapot, I think we come to you.
I think the first week I was going to try it. I don't know if it takes a whole week, but I think I was the only person who actually took damage on our last combat.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
So I got beat down.
So you just wanted to heal. So, okay. So healing, let me pull that back up.
I almost died.
So with healing, you kind of get some...
Oops.
What happened?
No, oops about almost dying.
Oh, okay. So with healing, you can kind of so you can take the care action, but that's not what you're really doing here. You're just kind of recovering. So you can either recover all of your life over the course. All of you can do this, by the way. This is essentially free because no one's getting in a fight this week or anything like that.
Okay.
So all of you can do this for free. You can either recover all of your life. You can restore your fatigue track, meaning if you have any points of fatigue, you can just restore it and like get rid of them, or you can restore a point of attribute damage.
Okay.
So
I was
those are the
definitely gonna
options.
Get that life back. And then I think I still wanted to look into figuring out how I can maybe maintain our megapede,
Okay. So let's do a skill check. So we're doing this slightly. So if anyone's listening to this, or if you're watching this later, we do it slightly differently than what's in the UVG, just because our pace of play Normally, it takes like 4 skill checks and things to get access to skills, but we're not going to play it that way. We're going to play things a little bit quicker because we only play every other week, and we like to, our pace is a little different. So, you already have a mentor in mind. That's Lazaro Romero, and you're trying to acquire a new skill. So, like our homebrew rules is that you got to take the study action, which is going to be your week-long action, and then you're going to make a difficult stat test, which is a target of 15, and it's going to be using the most relevant stat to the skill you're looking to learn. So you're looking to learn like Vec repair or something like that. And so that's, I don't know, thought probably. You can make a case. It also could be agility, like actually moving things. So it's whatever you prefer. And you can use your heroics if you want to help with this, to either get advantage on the roll at the beginning or to add d6s later.
Okay.
But it's up to you.
Well, I don't think I have any relevant stats unless somehow applying hammer liberally to fix things brings strength into scope.
I mean, like fixing dents and things like that. I mean, I'll take it. Like if you think it makes sense, it makes sense to me. So
I mean, that's one of the number one things you do when you fix a car is you hammer the metal.
You just hit it until it works again.
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
I'll take it. So roll your d20, add your strength. If you want to roll at advantage, burn a heroic. If you want to save your heroics just to add plus 1d6 after to your roll, that's fine. And you need to hit a 15.
I've been rolling well today, so either this is going to be abysmal or it's going to be
Burn
fine,
a heroic to
so-
get it. Ooh! Look at you. Okay. So the way we're playing it is that if you hit that difficulty test, you're going to get your access to your skills. You said you were going to drop one of your others for this. Yeah, you can go ahead and put in like Vec repair, VECH repair, something like that.
I think I'll probably drop narco herbalism because I think with Bert's character, we've got enough of that covered already.
So, all right. So you guys all, after you get the lay of the land, everyone kind of scatters and you start doing odds and ends. Tango goes off drinking with his revolutionary dance partners. Khalil is hanging out with his new fraternity of like body snatchers. Teapot's learning how to do machinery repair. Lamb, you've been trying to tactfully find a way to sell some of your Voam parts without alerting the wrong kind of people. And MSG, you've been asking around about this herd of lions, maybe interesting locations around, stuff from the vision. When you all one night after 6-7 days, you come back to your camp, and you notice that Ensen seems to be missing, and as does like one or two of the people that you had saved, who are kind of still sticking with you here and there within the caravan until they find better options. And the woman Goya comes up to all of you one evening. It's like, yeah, hey, so, yeah, bad news, but your friend, the big one with the muscles, yeah, you remember how I said there was that group that was looking for you? They're here, apparently, and they took your guy. Yeah, they said that they'll give him back, but they want the cat. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Is there like some way to get these crystal guardians to blow them up for kidnapping?
Well, I don't know who controls that, but they said they want you to meet them somewhere else. So they want you to head over to this hill that overlooks the still waters. I think it's out of range of the golems, and they said no funny business, or your meaty friend gets the gun or something.
Oh, isn't like funny business a matter who finds it funny?
Yeah, I was just using,
Yeah,
like
okay,
the
okay, all right.
colloquialism. But anyway, they gave me this to show how serious they were, and they hand over what looks like a big old leg of one of the other survivors. Yeah, don't worry, he was kind of an asshole too, but still, like they said, if you don't give him the cat, they got two more where this came from.
All right. As we take this and probably just dump it into the bus.
Yeah. Waste
Right.
not, want not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
This is a problem.
I mean, yeah,
Oh, man.
that's a problem.
I mean, if
Yeah.
they think they can hold him, I'm entertained to see how that'll go. But, as a holy brother, it would seem a shame to just leave him in the wind.
they were pretty well decked out, man. Like, they had some gear and stuff. Oh yeah, the guys that took the guy who leads them is someone named Seagal.
Steven.
Yeah.
No.
So good luck with that. And we'll end there
Maybe.
for tonight. No, we're gonna end there.
Oh,
Maybe
no.
maybe it's a new body to take over.
Oh my God. I can't wait.
No.
Oh.
See- oh
It's
boy,
wonderful.
I like her. She really like talk like her. Chill.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Honest
Good
friend.
addition to the party.
I agree. And easy to do that voice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like a Tango and Gloria conversation.
Yes.
This is you could thank Captain Karayan for this. This was we worked on this a little bit. This little encounter
Complication.
here. Yeah. So let's do some still final roundtable. Let's do some last plugs and whatnot. Bert, we get you going. What do you have going on this week? There we go. I got through it.
Unmuting would help. On
Yes.
twitch.tv/Steam Steel Murder, we have first edition Dungeons and Dragons tomorrow night, playing through Temple of Elemental Evil. Friday is BX Dungeons and Dragon, playing through Castle Amber. This Sunday is Gamma World's second edition. Yeah,
Very
good stuff there. And the podcast at Blue Magic, BLUMAGIK.com, over a decade's worth of all kinds of RPG goodness.
Awesome. Both links are in the chat. Take a look. And if you're watching this later on YouTube, check the description notes thing. There should be links as well to everyone's stuff. Chuck, what are the Defenders doing?
Oh man, on Wednesday we got some more Pathfinder 2. I'm still trying to figure out how to incorporate a poop vampire, but I haven't forgotten it. Friday, we're doing basic fantasy role-playing game. And then Saturday we'll be over on Goodman Games Official for another session of Crypt of the Devil Lich. So yeah, and I think Sunday's Salt Marsh. Is that right, Dan?
Should be. Yeah.
Yeah. Sunday we'll be doing some Salt Marsh.
Okay. Jeremy, talk to us about comics, man.
If you like the occult and you like investigation and you also like independent comics, you could check out Black Blizzard on the Kickstarter. It's issue 2. It's funded. Issue 3 is already underway. And if you missed the first one, don't worry. You can pledge for that. It's cool.
Excellent. Let's see. For Melissa and I, well, tomorrow night we're going to be over on Sirenscape channel, twitch.tv/Sirenscape, as our good friend old Matty Two Arms runs us through some Call of Cthulhu. So come check that out. Thursday, I'll be running Delta Green. Jeremy's in that game over on Garblack Games. And then we have our on our own channel here on Friday. We have our Impossible Landscapes campaign, also Delta Green, where I just stabbed someone in the face. It was fun. I enjoyed it. And I felt really bad afterwards. And then I stopped because whatever. And then Saturday, we're doing some Blades in the Dark. And Monday, a week from now, we'll be doing Alien. And then in 2 weeks, we'll be back for more UVG, where you guys get to go find up the carved body of Ensen. And that's what you get, Joe, for dropping out at the last second. I just kill your character and I cut him into pieces. That's a lesson for all of you.
Man.
Don't cancel.
Okay.
But that's it. Thank you for everyone who hung out tonight. Thank you for those of you who are watching this on YouTube. It's really a fun game. I really like UVG. It's just a weird, wacky world, and it's different from all the other games that I'm running right now. So it's very, very fun. But I'm gonna go ahead and close the stream down. We're gonna raid somebody else. Looks like Diesel Shot. Our friends over there are running some Dungeons and Dragons. So if you want to hang out for a moment and follow the raid, you'll have some more TTRPG streams to follow. So